Hello everybody and welcome back to another Twitch live stream here on the xMattyG channel. It is the Japanese Grand Prix for this AOR F1 2013 league. We're back once again after the fantastic, brilliant, awesome race
Hello everybody
we had last time out in Korea. And
Jesus.
I think that... sorry, I think I had to say something there, Fizzy. You started making noises.
Yeah, it was just my headset was messing up.
Stop making noises,
ears.
I'm trying to do the intro, damn!
Look man, this is
Get
already
out.
a better intro than last week, so we have done
Get
it well.
out. I'm
so.
going to comment on my own. Anyway, so as you can see, we've loaded up. The qualifying is underway and everybody is probably on their out laps. What is quite important to note out, just as I've seen it, it's 62% chance of rain for this qualifying session, which is going to throw potentially some cats among some pigeons. But just to introduce the man that was making noises midway through my intro, it's Fizzy Fan.
Yep, it's always me making weird noises, and yeah, well, I'm even more excited now for this Japanese Grand Prix now that there's a chance of rain, because we haven't had regular rain. Do you know, was that chance of rain for the quali or the race?
Quali, 0% for race.
Okay. Okay. Well, anyway, I'll quickly go through then the events from last week, because a few things have changed from what happened in Korea. So basically, remember at the end of the Korean Grand Prix last time out, there were a few penalties handed out by the game. Tyrrell Martin had a 10-second penalty that dropped him from first place down to 4th. He got that removed because it was judged to be an unfair penalty. Basically, the incident with Tyrrell Limitless was judged to be a racing incident, and Tyrrell Martin gave that position back anyway. So he was moved back on up to first place in that race, meaning he won, Tyrrell Limitless in second. And also Jason had 20 seconds worth of penalties, which also got removed and moved him back to 6th place last time out. Whereas Yi was apparently the man who caused the crash at turn 3 on the first lap, which put a few people out, and he was awarded a 20-second penalty for that. And another race ban. He is now on 50 penalty points, meaning he's on his very, very final warning once he returns from that ban. And also quickly, how that affects the championship. You can see Tyrrell Martin now leading by 32 points, I believe that is. Over Tyrrell Limitless, of course, and then Broshek Lebot unleashed the guys further back. So Matt, let's now focus on the Japanese Grand Prix.
Japanese Thank you very much, Fizzy, for that rundown. And the guys are probably in about the middle sector at the moment, if my sector times are anything to go by. And the man who is on the pace at the moment is Tyrrell Martin, who is streaks ahead of anybody else on their first sector time. I have to say, about 2/10 faster than anybody else currently on a lap. And that includes Tyrrell Limitless as well. Actually, no, it doesn't. Limitless around about half a tenth down on Martin at the moment. Excuse my voice, a little bit deeper because I've been partying the last 6 nights in a row in Leeds with Jody. So my voice might all struggle, but I've got a bit of drink. And the first man to set a lap time is NLR Evo with a 31.7, which is displaced immediately by Tyrrell Martin, who takes pole position with a 1:31.5. Limitless, however, has set a very quick middle sector, and that is translated into provisional pole position with a 1:31.389, and that is Limitless and P1.
Wow, very interesting. Early sessions. Unleashed was the man I ended up on board with when I went out on track, but he went straight back into the pit lane, and it almost looked like to me that he was going to hit the pit wall on the way in, but luckily for him he avoided that. Now we're watching Lest F1 come around the final chicane for his first time lap of the session, so what can he do? Lest F1, Tyrrell Martin's teammate goes P4 provisionally.
Which is actually the slowest time, Fizzy, just...
Okay, so I guess a lot of people have aborted that lap.
Yeah, a lot of people actually
in
have.
that case.
So interesting. Lest F1 actually.
Jump straight.
Lest F1, yep. 32.5, 1.1 seconds off the fastest lap time of the session. However, set the fastest last sector.
Oh, interesting. It looked to be, well, unless I have a bad memory, it looked to be taking the final chicane pretty nicely.
Or maybe just had a very poor rest of the lap. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, there is time to be found then if Lest F1, who is currently last of the time laps, is setting the fastest last sector. And looking at Limitless and Martin's first and second sector time, both of them very quick. Martin in the first sector, Limitless in the middle. So there is time to be found. So we should see about half the field. So we've literally got half the field that have... actually, no, we haven't got K-Block as well, who's still in the pits.
5 time laps.
So K-Block's still in the pits. He hasn't even bothered to come out of the pits yet for some reason.
He disconnected at the start.
Oh, did he? Okay.
It's just come back in.
Right, okay. So we've got half the field that have set a flying lap at the moment, and then we've got half that have gone in after their attempted flying laps, which they've decided wasn't quick enough. So we should see Unleashed, Ria Haryanto, Broshek, Orbit Pride and Foxside all on their fast laps very soon, Fizzy.
Yep. Also worth pointing out, which I forgot before, obviously we know YE isn't here for this race. He's race banned, but Leobot's also the other person missing from the grid. He, well, he has some good reason to not be here. I think he's away skiing or something, he said. So either way, unfortunately, he will not be here. K-Block now has rejoined, actually. So at least he's back in the session, which is good. Tyrrell Martin only on an out lap at the moment. I'll try to find if someone's on a proper lap. None of the top 3 are at the moment. Unleashed seems to be... yeah, he's just past the first sector split, if you want to have a cheeky check. Oh, he's coming up to some traffic though. No, the Williams NLR Evo lets him nicely through on the hairpin.
Yeah, very slow first sector for Unleashed. Nowhere near the time that Limitless sets, and pretty much a second slower than Martin, I think. So nothing doing for Unleashed. Foxside set a pretty good first sector, I have to say. About half a tenth slower than Limitless in that first sector, and it's a reasonably long first sector, so it might well be worth having a watch of him.
Ooh, Broshek coming towards the end of his lap.
Broshek.
Oh, but no, he goes in the pits. Damn it.
I was going to say, Broshek, he must have messed up that last sector because he was actually looking quite quick. And Unleashed, I don't know if you were continuing watching him, but despite a extremely poor first sector, he's gone and set the fastest middle sector of anybody so far. So there is time to be found here, Fizz. I think maybe we might even be looking at the high 130s. I'm not sure if everyone's bottling at the moment because I really have no idea what the previous AOR times are, which I'm now hoping you're going to go, Matt. I've got it on a sheet of paper right here, the AOR previous season poll times.
You know what? While we're watching Tyrrell Martin go around for a lap, I'll actually do that. So basically, we'll go back to Season 8 and Season 7, the two previous seasons where we used this same F1 2013 game. And the poll time in Season 8, get to that was set by xMattyG.
I don't know who. Was it? Oh, I was going to say that I didn't get... I was just...
Oh, no, wait, I saw the wrong thing. You didn't set poll, you just won the race.
You liar.
Yes. Well, you know what?
I was going to say, I don't...
Winning the race is better than poll.
I didn't ever get poll. So I was like, what? I got poll?
You got second, though. You got second. You were only a tenth and a half off Tyrrell Rosberg, who was the man on pole, and he had a 31-1.
Oh, so I did a point too. Cheeky man, so I could be on pole right now. Anyway, Martin has actually set the fastest first sector of an absolute country mile again. 2/10 quicker than Limitless in that first sector. Maybe Martin is running a little bit more on his front wing this time out. It's also worth pointing out that Ria Haryanto set the fastest last sector of anybody, and he's in 6th place. Although, actually, that's now become green, so I don't know who's just set a 16, because that's what he's done a 17.010 in that last sector, which is a 10th quicker than Limitless's current pole position time. We've got TSR Unleashed, who has gone into the pits after setting that fastest middle sector. But Martin has messed up his flying lap once again and is going to go into the pits as that middle sector was very poor indeed. So currently, we have 7 people who have set a flying lap so far. Not particularly good. And we've got NLR Evo going into 2nd place. He didn't
that's what I was about to say.
Didn't set the world light at all, and he's actually retired from the race as well. He didn't set the world light at all in any of the sectors. Kind of got under the radar for me there because it was just all. To be fair, everything on my screen pretty much is green, so it's quite hard to actually have a look at who's doing what. But NLR Evo up into 2nd place, pretty quick time, and he's on the front row of the grid at the moment. And let's see if anybody else is kind of sneakily setting a fast lap time. I can't see any just yet.
Yeah. Just on board with Jason, 97 F1, Tyrrell Limitless's teammate at the moment, coming through the final chicane. Hits that apex nicely, hits the second apex nicely, but will he abort it? He does indeed, so clearly something he wasn't happy with on the first 2 sectors of the lap. So right now we're back in that phase where I don't think a lot of people are on a flying lap, although actually Tyrrell Unleashed just starting one. He's obviously aborted 2 flying laps already this session, so really has the pressure on him to set a lap now. 4.5 minutes to go, and he still hasn't got a time on the board. So we'll follow TSR Unleashed around. And Matt, you can keep me updated on the times as he comes around. Not first sector quite yet, though. And actually, I'll do that. Back to Season 7. Oh, Tyrrell Rosberg also getting pole there, actually, with 31.0, actually. So it's possible to do even faster than a 0.1.
Certainly is.
That's, what is Limitless time at the moment?
1:31.389.
Interesting.
There is time to be found.
That's exactly. Very close to... He also did a 0.3 Limitless in Season 7 when he qualified 2nd on the grid. And he also qualified Why am I looking at the Indy Grand Prix page all of a sudden? In season 8? No, we didn't qualify actually. Limitless didn't race there in season
Worth
8.
pointing out, Brochek, I think he's on a lap, and unless he's not, and it's actually lying to me, he's currently in 9th as Brochek with no set time. Yeah, he takes pole position. Brochek out of nowhere takes pole position. I thought his first 2 sectors looked good. He retires from the race. They're 3,000ths of a second quicker than Limitless, and the reigning AOR champion takes provisional pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix. And there is time to be found, Fisi, as you've said, and Brochek is the one that is taking advantage of that so far.
Yeah, unbelievable scenes. Incredible from Brochek. Unleashed just finished his lap as well, goes P6 and starts ghosting, so I assume he'll be retiring, won't have time to go back in and out again, which is quite surprising. He missed the apex for the first part of the chicane, so I think that's quite disappointing for his standards. Although P6, still not the worst position he could be in. But yeah, Brochek, very impressive. I think I did hear some rumors in the chat before the race started that Brochek was looking good in practice around here, so that's clearly seeming like a true rumor based on that qualifying time.
Yeah, definitely.
We're now on board with Lest, who is not on the flyer, so I'll try to find someone else.
Martin's on a lap. You want to probably follow him. He's currently in 4th place at the moment, the championship leader. And, well, it seems like Martin really does have a lot of pace in that first sector. However, really can't seem to translate it into a really good lap. So 31.5 is not fast by any stretch of the imagination, as we've already seen. And, well, with Martin, the fact that he's had so many pole positions already over the course of the season, you'd expect him to be a little bit higher than 4th if he wants to be challenging Limitless, because it kind of puts him in a very dangerous position going into turn 1. He really wants to be on the front row of the grid if he can, and it's possible. He only has to gain a 10th and a half. He's about a 10th down on Brochek's current lap time through the first and second sectors. He's only got 17 seconds in that last sector to make up the time. So Martin, can he improve, Fisi?
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. He's coming towards the line right about now, and he does improve slightly. It's a 0.391 for P3.
Separating the top 3. That must be one of the closest qualifiers I've ever seen. However, Limitless is on another flying lap and sets a purple middle sector of anybody so far. Can Limitless take pole position, Fisi?
He's coming towards the line. He does improve. He's a P1 for Limitless. 0.3 as well. It's incredibly close here. 331 for Limitless, which is good enough for pole. Just about.
It was closer. I'm really disappointed that Limitless had to improve because there was 5,000 separating 3 guys. But Limitless does improve to be now 55 thousandths ahead of Brochek and 600ths ahead of Martin. So right now, a lot of people are retiring. Foxside has retired in 5th place currently with a 31.8. Jason97 F1, a man who has been very quick, or known to be quick around certain tracks, especially Spa. I remember that one season where he actually won the race, I think, didn't he? I can't remember, but I think he did.
He won. He actually got 2nd air in season 9 on F1 2014.
Yeah, I'm guessing,
which is
Jason doesn't have enough time potentially to practice. I'm not sure, but right now, nobody really setting the world alight with the times. 31.3 is not the quickest we've seen in seasons gone by, and we have another man retiring, Lest F1. We currently have Orbit Pride, who still is yet to set a time. The man who won round Monaco. And, no, he didn't. Did he?
No, that was Evo that won round Monaco.
I just remember.
Orbit Pride has been up there in a few races. Orbit Pride has been very inconsistent, I have to say, really. It's been like, he's got pole position. He's been starting on the front row sometimes, and other races he's just been nowhere. So, obviously, we all remember the Hungary race where he was fighting up there with the top guys, and then did some kind of weird strategy that kind of made him
we hit an extra
through the
time
field all over again. Yeah.
We've only got 2 men out on track now because I've been retired and I'm watching what you guys are watching, and I think Jason's probably the only one to really bother watching because Orbit Pride wasn't setting the world alight as far as I'm aware, but that might have been because his sector times hadn't popped up. But Jason, coming around the final chicane for the final time in this qualifying session, can he improve? His sector times weren't really doing much for me from what I remember, but can he get anywhere near? No, he cannot. He doesn't even improve on his 32 flat, and Orbit Pride is giving up on his lap time. So this is the qualifying grid for the race that is about to happen. Fisi, do you want to run us through it?
Yes, so Limitless is back on pole position with a 0.55 of a 10th ahead of Brochek, who starts on the front row alongside him. Tyrrell Martin championship leader in third. Then LR Evo, back to positive qualifying for him in fourth there. Foxside, who debuted not too many races ago, is in fifth. Gears Unleashed ended up in sixth in the end. Jason in seventh. Ria Harianto in eighth. Less F1, and then you all. Because Orbit Pride could not set a time.
Oh god,
so I
so we have
guess
to do that thing
we
again.
will both start ahead of some cars on this
Right,
grid,
let's do
so
it.
we're gonna have to go out of the way.
Chance of points.
Oh dear. Yep.
Looking forward to that one.
Quick sip of the
I
water.
thought you were making that dripping noise that people make with their mouth then. That literally, it was like dong.
Yeah.
We actually heard you have a little sip there, mate, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You love your noises, don't you, Fizzy? You really do. But
I am the master of wind.
you are the master of noises, you really are. Apparently...
Because it made everyone wait.
so I'm guessing Limitless hasn't left the league then? Just...
Oh, I guess, you know, he obviously had a bit of breakdown after the previous race. He obviously was very frustrated with the incident with Martin, and you know, Martin getting the upper hand obviously after that for the rest of the race. Ended up winning it, and yeah, it's, you know, it was judged to be a racing incident in the end. I think we both said it at the time as well, that we thought it was. So I think, obviously,
I think he himself realised that it was a racing incident.
Yeah, that's the thing. He obviously did take it to the stewards, but it did get the verdict that it was to be a racing incident, and I can only assume it was a bit of a in the moment thing for Limitless, just showing his frustration more than anything.
He saw a bit of fire in his eyes, and he wanted to get...
Yeah.
It's fine. Okay, so we are not actually counting down just yet. We're still waiting for somebody who's clearly said they're going to the toilet or something, which is a terrible time after qualifying, but we allow it nonetheless. But whilst we're waiting, Izzy, have you got any predictions for this race?
I don't really know. I think you know.
Well, Limitless has to
usually
win,
this season,
doesn't he? He has to win this race.
he really have to win for the championship. I mean, nothing other than a win is good enough for Limitless right now. He's, what as I said, 32 points behind Martin.
Yeah, how many races
in the championship?
5 races to go?
5 races to go, I believe. So yeah, basically he just needs to claw points back as soon as possible. Basically, he needs to win and hope that Martin doesn't get second every race. Because I think actually, I'm not that quick on math that I can sort this out of my head right now.
7 times 5.
Can he?
Yeah, he could finish second. Martin could finish second, then
And still win.
Limitless would win the championship if he wins every single race. So there you go.
Right.
Because 32 points and it would be
it's
35 from that.
Still in Limitless' hand, but he's in a very difficult position, I guess we can say. And obviously, good for him maybe that Brochek is ahead of Martin on the grid, but you never know.
It also means Brochek really has nothing to lose in this championship. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Limitless may well even want Martin unless Martin's down in 10th. I think he'd prefer that. But right, here we go. The countdown has finished. We're going to have to concentrate and get out of the way, especially me, because he's going to be right behind me, is Orbit Pride, who did not set a lap time, which I know the feeling of a few times over the course of my AOR career. It's not a great feeling, I must admit, starting last after probably practicing qualifying quite a bit. But there's only one thing left to say as we are loading up for this Japanese Grand Prix, and here we go. It's race time! It's the Japanese Grand Prix. It's xMattyG commentating for you today with Fisi Fan 91 on the grid. We are, not sure why I just turned it into Yoda, but we are loading up. And actually, we've got K-Block as well, so Fizzy, you need to concentrate a lot.
Yeah,
so I hope we're...
It's the first time driving with the pad for me on this game, I think.
Oh no, this is going to be good. Bad. So we've got 3 lights, now we've got 4. The final light is up, and it's lights out, and away we go for this Japanese Grand Prix. We've pulled away, and we're out. Yes, good, right, retire. Oh gosh, I'm so behind.
So well there.
Spectate. Into turn 1 we go. Limitless is in first position, and we have a lot of cars side by side. We've got NLR Evo up into second place, and I'm not sure where Brochek's gone, but Limitless is out in front at the moment. Martin now retaking that second place that he where he wanted to be in qualifying. So NLR Evo's in third.
Red Bull on the grass there, I think.
We've got Foxside in fourth. I really have no idea what happened to Brochek. He's down to 5th place. A terrible start for Brochek in that Mercedes. And we have Limitless' teammate in 6th place of Jason 97 F1, who's had a fantastic start from, I think, 8th or 9th on the grid. But anyway, Limitless has had the perfect start in terms of what he wanted in P1 at the moment. But Martin, his championship rival, is in 2nd place at the moment, has managed to just about sort of avoid any contact and actually gained a place at the start in that first sector. So a perfect start for Martin in the sense that that's probably what he was realistically looking for. But right now it seemed like a pretty okay start in terms of no contact, but I'm not sure what happened with Brochek, because Limitless runs very wide through Spoon, which is going to definitely compromises exit, and Martin is definitely going to start to close up as we head towards 130R.
Yeah, it's been a bit of scrapping on the first few corners, I think, but as you say, no major contact by the looks of it. I saw the Red Bull, presumably of T Underside Unleashed, a little bit on the grass, and obviously Brocek kind of faded further back down the field. But these two guys, the championship rivals up the front of the championship, are 1-2 once again. Perfect start for Martin, as you said, getting past Brocek, and now is right behind Limitless.
Yeah.
Without DRS on this lap, but Dooney will have one.
Yeah, so Martin, not sure if he couldn't get close enough or he decided to just follow Limitless, which we have seen a few times already this season, just following, saving the fuel. But I don't know, around here, I think that if you can get ahead, there is a serious opportunity to pull away from the slipstream effect and DRS if you can have a really good first sector, because I mean, following in the first sector is not ideal, and it will not be ideal for Martin's tyres as well, just to follow for the entire stint, because that will just mean that he can't push the tyres potentially as long as Limitless would want to, because we see both of these guys going for different strategies. Sometimes Limitless, although very much known for having that sort of overcut, trying to push the tyres a little bit longer so they're fresher at the end of the stint. But we've seen in recent times that Limitless has gone for the undercut and tried to get track position, or probably learning from his Silverstone experience, where Martin was able to get that track position and the advantage of 3 to 4 seconds, which he just couldn't close in on.
Yeah, strategy will certainly be an interesting one around here. I mean, I did look at the default game strategy while we were in the pits, and it did say 2-stopper, although I do seem to remember that 3-stopper is more normal around here. As actually, Tyrrell Martin is really closing up now on Limitless in that slipstream. Didn't use all of his curse, but quite a bit of it. And through 130R, he might have a chance even into the chicane. Oh, a bit of a lag there on my screen anyway, as Limitless keeps his position into the chicane and onto the main straight. Obviously, only the second lap of the race. So once again, Martin without DRS on this occasion. Next lap we will have it when we go down here. And we still got the Williams of NLR Evo. Very close behind, so he's hanging in there. And I think there's also a guy in fourth. Can't quite see who that is, who's still hanging on well. Is that a Sauber?
That's Foxside, yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing quite impressively so far in this race.
Yeah, very nice. I think NLR Evo is definitely keeping up with the leaders a lot more than maybe Martin Limitless would like. But I mean, in terms of the viewing prospects, that's fantastic for us to see. And I think Evo, obviously being on the wheel, has advantages in some areas and disadvantages in others. And I think also with the what I remember Noble saying, I think, is that the tyre wear is maybe a little bit worse on the wheel from back in 2013. So Evo may well struggle towards the end of his stints, and I think that might well play into the pad user's hands, of course. Obviously, if NLR Evo's tyres are overheating going through 130R and corners like that, then, you know, obviously with the pad users, they have restricted turning, and we all know how that works with in the sense that the temperature doesn't get as high in the tyres. Silverstone being a prime example, and also here as well going into Spoon. I think that's probably quite a key corner in terms of if you just turn the wheel just a little bit too much, the tyre temperatures go up a little bit too high, and obviously that means some more wear on the tyres. But right now, Evo definitely staying with them, and the top three starting to pull away. Foxside in fourth, maybe holding up Brochet just slightly, and we've got Martin right behind Limitless this time, and the DRS, up the inside. Ooh. Evo having a look. I love how you were on the same perspective as I was. Martin getting out of shape though through that chicane, cutting it slightly, I think, but Evo definitely close enough to cause these two issues. And well, we've seen in previous races with Brocek, especially around Silverstone, that, you know, if you pit early, you can gain quite a few positions. And if Evo, as he goes quite wide into turn one, does Evo, Martin getting very close to the back of Limitless as well. But if Evo decides to pit early, then potentially could take the lead.
Massive gap behind Evo now.
They pitted, they pitted. Brocek and
okay.
Foxside are both pitted from fourth and fifth, which could well make turn them into players. Foxside's lost connection,
no.
Which is very disappointing to see considering how high up he was in the field. Martin going very wide through that left-hander there and getting a little bit of grass in his tyres, which may well affect him into Degnum 1 and 2. Limitless going very deep into the gravel, actually. There's Limitless, and Martin now right behind him. Limitless has done that before, coming out of Degna 2, if I remember correctly, on one of the previous games. Maybe potentially on 2013, actually. But Limitless out of shape and almost out. You know, he's put himself under some serious pressure here.
Yeah, it's like you said, you have the chance to pull away when you're in clean air here. If you really nailed that first sector, or first half of the lap even, but Limitless just hasn't managed to quite get to the right lines that he wanted, and he's wide again. Martin a little bit too tight there actually, but seemed to get pretty identical exits to them. Evo still hanging back just watching the action unfold. I'm sure Evo in this position was just hoping for another collision between the two championship contenders, because then he'll be right there to take advantage as the margin goes very wide there through 130R.
You can tell these guys' tyres are just going.
Really under pressure.
Limitless,
yeah.
Are they going to die? Oh, Limitless is going to dive into the pits. Martin, who did seem like he had a bit more pace, despite following Limitless for the entire stint, Martin continues. Limitless goes for the essential undercut. Evo comes in as well, and Martin, although, you know, obviously ideally for him, is he going to hit? Yeah, it's okay through turn 1 and 2. But I think that, you know, with Martin, despite the fact he's obviously thinking about the long run and the tyres and keeping them in sort of in good shape towards the end of the stints, he may well come out behind Brochek. Obviously, Foxside is disconnected, but Martin may well find himself in 4th place.
Brochek has jumped another Evo. He's right behind TRL Limitless. That's crucial for Limitless. Getting out of the pits just in front of Brochek.
Oh,
that's really what he wanted.
Yeah.
He will, of course, now still be under pressure on this outlap, but at least he won't be held up by, you know, someone who's potentially slower. I mean, I wouldn't say Brochek is a lot slower around here, given their qualifying laps were incredibly close.
Yeah.
But obviously Brochek on slightly more one tires
I
as
think
well.
that it's always Brochek does not hit the apex of Degna 1 in the slightest. I think for Brochek it is crucial to overtake Limitless on this lap so that he can slow them down and just stay with them for maybe some of the stint. But Brochek, with right now, his tyres are in optimum sort of temperature. It's kind of, they're nailed on. So he really does need to take advantage of this lap because he will not be able to stay with Limitless after this lap if he doesn't get through.
Yeah, and you can see Limitless has already pulled a bit of a gap in the first half a lap. He's been having a really solid outlap so far. Limitless certainly seemingly cleaner than the first few laps of the race when he had Martin all over him. Now he looks to be finding a rhythm, and it remains to be seen then when TRL Martin comes out of the pits. I can see on the main map he's just gone into the pits. So where will he come out? Undercut's been playing a massive role in previous races this season, and will it have a huge effect here again? There's still one person who hasn't pitted yet. I wonder if someone started on the primes maybe.
There we go, so Evo's now going to try and overtake Brochek. They're coming side by side down the pit straight, and Evo is going to take that essential 2nd place, which although it is 3rd at the moment because we've still got some person out in front at the moment. But yeah, so Evo has finally got through and past Brochek. However, Limitless is potentially out of DRS range, and Evo's really going to have to do some solid laps if he wants to get back in DRS range, and Martin is quite a couple of seconds behind. And it really is going to be quite important for him to try and dispatch of Brochek and Evo as quickly as possible to make the most of his tyres at the moment.
Yeah, that's obviously the problem with the undercut strategy sometimes. We're in a close field like this, and you know, you go in one up later, lose a few seconds on the in-lap, and suddenly you have other cars having jumped you, and that you need to get back past to challenge whoever you were battling with before, which in this case was Limitless. So I'm just going to check actually who is the man leading. It's K-Block who's having what I think is his first lap in the lead of an AOR F1 race at the moment.
Let's ride on board with K-Block. It doesn't matter what happens behind, although they seem very close. So I'll just keep an eye on what happens behind. And K-Block can have his moment before he dives into the pits, potentially at the end of this lap, although he is on primes. So if he is continuing...
Is he? No, he's on options.
Oh, sorry, no, he's on options. Of course, sorry, I got confused.
Surprisingly, they must be horribly
he didn't qualify at all, did he? So they were completely fresh. So he's been able to push that stint.
There we go, here he goes.
Quite a lot. So there you go. K-Block comes into the pits. Limitless, Evo, Brochek and Martin now pretty much, well, Limitless has got a little bit of a gap. Has Evo got DRS? That's the important one. No, he does not have DRS. I think he must be about 1.2 seconds behind or something like that. But right now, Limitless has the lead and is out of DRS range. But can Limitless keep those mistakes out, which we've seen creep already? He gets a little bit out of shape off the curb there as well, which I think I've done previously when I was trying to steam through the field.
Completely messed his lineup.
He certainly messed up the first couple of corners of this stint, and I reckon Evo, if he continues to be consistent through the rest of this first sector and middle sector, he will find himself back in DRS range.
Yeah. So while you guys, if you can just focus on the what Martin's doing at the moment, I'll just quickly look back, because there seems to be a very close train down the field as well. Jason now running 6th at the moment. Who's that? Is that Cesar Unleashed, I think, running in 5th. And then we've got Ria Hariyanto leading a bit of a train from 7th down to 9th. He's got K-Block right behind him, so he obviously came out in 8th after pitting. And then there is that the Caterham of Leicester F1 running 9th. So where on earth is that Obit Pride then completely by himself there in last place at the moment? Although last place in this race at the moment is still 10th place, so he will get a point if he finishes. At least that's something to, some incentive to drive until the end of the race. Even though it seems kind of like a lost cause.
Back to the front,
but,
we can
here we
see
go.
an overtake with Martin trying to go to the outside of Brochek, braking early though, so Brochek all going quite deep and almost hitting Evo, having to cut the chicane completely does Brochek, although it might look like he's gained an advantage. His tyres now, his traction will be terrible coming out of here, but Brochek does get DRS through that, and here we go. So Martin with the DRS as well, Brochek uses no curves, so pretty fair play to him there. Doesn't try and protect his third place, although gets very close to Martin's gearbox again. And right now, Martin's sitting in the pound seats. Limitless is not pulling away as much as I expected.
Yeah, I'm surprised, actually, that Limitless haven't used his opportunity to build a gap just yet. Martin will be liking what he's seeing right now.
Martin
Didn't really lose any time by passing Brochek either. Did it nicely and cleanly with the DRS on the straight there.
Don't want to give Martin the commentator's curse, but right now he's hitting every single apex like no tomorrow. And Martin really in the zone at the moment. And I'm pretty sure that's going to mean he's going to fly off into the gravel next corner. But right now, Martin...
There we go, hairpin time.
Hairpin time indeed. But right now, Evo's sitting... Oh, God, mine does miss the apex in the next corner. He must have heard me say that. But right now, still Martin definitely looking good for the rest of the race because he can still just push. Obviously, the undercut will be a factor in the next stint after this. But Martin right now, if he can just keep it cool... He probably knows he's in a good position as well. And Evo's certainly within DRS. And we could see a change of the lead here. Limitless must be making some mistakes because Evo right now, the more consistent of the two front runners here. And Evo in the slipstream as well. Is he going to try it after 130 into the last chicane? Or will he wait for the DRS? I'm pretty sure he should wait for the DRS. He does indeed. Doesn't try anything silly into this final chicane. Limitless getting a little bit out of shape again through that chicane, which is going to compromise his exit. However, Evo now using the rest of his curves. I'm not sure how much Limitless had left. And here we go. Is Evo going to try it for the lead? He is going to use a bit of his curves. Not too much though, but with that extra speed, he's not going to try it into turn one. So Evo deciding to do the long run rather than try and overtake for the lead. Probably knowing as he runs a little bit wide through turn one. And Martin all over the back of him as well. And I think Evo really should be trying to get ahead because then it will just give... It will put Limitless under pressure from Martin rather than sitting in second and kind of... Because Limitless isn't exactly going fast. It's not as if he's the optimum in terms of lap time right now. Evo could probably lap faster than Limitless. And if Limitless and Martin start fighting, then Evo could find himself out of DRS range. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, well, obviously the last thing Limitless wants is to get a car ahead of him now. Because if, as you say, Evo passes him, he'll be just having to focus on Tyrrell Martin, obviously, instead. And as we know, they can have some pretty close and heated battles, as we saw last night in Korea, when they went side by side for literally half the race, it felt like.
And please refer to the link I'm about to post in the chat.
Okay, good, yeah. So, quite interesting actually how Evo is so fast here though, because obviously we all know he had an incredible Monaco Grand Prix, won that race, but after that he's not been on the podium once. In fact, he's not been above 6th place.
Hold on.
And here we go, actually.
So
he wants another win, though. Oh,
so tight.
Didn't find a way
through. I was
through.
actually quite nervous with the fact that how close he was to the gearbox of Limitless. There was smoke coming off someone's tyres there. Not sure who it was, but Evo has used all of his curves, so I think he was trying. He was just using all of it to try and get ahead, but this time he is deploying more than the curves that I asked for. Limitless goes defensive, Evo goes to the outside, towards turn one. Can Evo hang it around the outside and take the lead? He runs slightly off the track, may have missed his braking point slightly with the extra curves usage, and that's going to put him under pressure from Martin, but this is a part of the track that is single file. No thank you overtaking, but right now Evo really could have made that move stick if he had hit his braking point. And it reminds me slightly actually, I think of 2012 when myself and Limitless went side by side into that corner, and yes, I managed to hang it around the outside of him and take the position, but I don't think we were even fighting for first. But yeah, so Evo a little bit probably sort of caught by surprise in fact that obviously he used a little bit more curves, had a bit more speed going into turn one, and just missed his braking point slightly.
Yeah, he got a great run off that chicane, and that's what he needs to do, obviously. That's the best place to overtake, as Martin kind of sticking his nose a little bit up the inside, coming on the exit of the hairpin there, but obviously Evo with a normal racing line getting a better exit, although Martin actually using all of his curves down towards Spooner. This is very interesting. Oh, but it just didn't get enough alongside to take the inside line there. Evo covered him off. Martin had to back out of it. That was an interesting tactic there. auto spin curve almost kicking in as well. That curve has actually spun
Here
him
we
into the
go
wall
though,
on the left-hand
Evo
side of
very
Orby.
quick down this straight now towards the 130R. He's going to try and take the wide line. Limitless defends it easily, but right now Evo has used all of his curves. He kind of, well, I'm surprised he didn't wait for the end of this corner here for the pit straight, but right now Limitless almost kind of teasing the fact he was potentially going to go into the pits there, but didn't. And Evo didn't have a great exit actually, and if Martin uses a lot of his curves, and Evo's going to have to use a lot of his curves as well to try and defend from Martin, and into turn one we go. Limitless still holding on to first place at the moment, and if he's using a lot of his fuel and Evo and Martin are able to save a little bit more fuel, although Martin does seem like he's getting a little bit aggravated, and Evo runs quite wide, which is going to compromise his left-hander here, but as I said last lap, it is very much single file, and Martin is losing a little bit of time to Limitless now, who seems to have had a much more consistent first sector. Evo now though, Martin, there's a little bit of contact. Martin's going to try and go around the outside at Degner 1, which is never going to work, and Evo hits the gravel though, and Evo somehow manages to keep second place, but he's got gravel on his left tyres, and that's affected his traction, and Martin is up into second place. Very interesting battle. I'm not sure if, well, they were very lucky to not have a massive incident into Degner 1 there, but Martin scrappily getting through into second place, and now can set his sights on Limitless.
Yeah, bit of a awkward touch, I think, from Martin on the Evo's gearbox there when they were heading down towards the first Degner. But obviously it didn't really affect anything, but I think it kind of flustered Evo a little bit. He had to take a slightly defensive line into the first Degner, which kind of put him out of line a little bit for the second one. And yeah, Martin just taking advantage of the pressure he put on him, and was right there to capitalise once Evo messed up.
Most certainly. So now Martin looking very much in the pound seats if he can keep his car under... Oh, actually, we've got Evo diving into the pits already at the end of lap 11.
Brochek as well, I think.
Okay, so that means that these two, who... Well, it depends if Martin dives into the pits at the end of this lap or not, or if he's going to have 2 lap fresher tyres than Evo and potentially 1 than Limitless, because right now, obviously, Martin's sitting on 1 lap fresher tyres after that extra lap on the options on the first stint, and you can see Martin visibly closing in on Limitless and hitting every apex. Once again, Martin loves this first sector, which actually is very true in terms of qualifying as well, because I was saying that he was very quick in that first sector as Martin. Not sure if that's because of maybe some extra front wing or if he just really does enjoy it, but right now Martin looking like he is closing in on Limitless, and he may well try and overtake, especially if he's going to come into the pits at the end of this lap. Oh Lord,
ooh,
Martin!
Cab.
I thought he was flying into the wall there. Oh my days, that would have been horrendous for Martin. But yeah, fortunately enough, managed to catch it. Those auto spin curves, Fizzy, they're out for some people today.
They are, absolutely. There are a few of them around pretty much every track on this game. And you just need to stay away, as Martin now once again towards Spoon. Like you were speculating in Martin maybe having more downforce since he's so good through Sector 1, but he's actually looking pretty tasty on the straight as well.
Tasty.
Limitless. Yeah, well, you know. Looking tasty on the straight, although this time Limitless did get a much better exit out of Spoon. That's Martin got a little bit wiggly. And now this is the apex for 130R. It doesn't really matter though, because it's still nice and flat.
He saves half of his curves as Martin, so I'm not sure if he's lining up an overtake. I'm pretty sure he will be, because he's got that lap fresher tyres. Oh, I don't know if there's a lag spike there or something for Martin, who just glitched back slightly for me. Limitless dives into the pits, and Martin, okay, maybe it's just a little bit of lag, I'm not sure, but Martin now flying down the pit straight for that extra lap again. And if Martin can just keep it consistent, which quite interesting into turn 1, very close to running completely off the track there. And well, Martin's just continuing that trend of having that 1 lap fresher tyres. And I think we're going to see a new leader here of NLR Evo once Martin pits.
Yeah, Brochek just as they come past Limitless on the exit of the pit lane there. Brochek passes Lest F1.
And Limitless.
Position.
And Limitless. Brochek's ahead of Limitless.
Yeah.
That is huge,
Brochek
actually.
and
So
Evo both jumped.
Yeah, so both these guys who have 1 lap older tyres than Limitless and 2 lap older tyres.
Limitless been held up now as well.
Who's being held up, sorry?
Limitless by Lest F1. Now he's got through though on the exit of the S's, but look how much time he's lost. He's definitely out of DRS range from Brochek. The undercut has absolutely played into the hands of Brochek and Evo again. Obviously Brochek doing the same thing on the previous stop, but Evo just realizing, because Evo obviously pitted on the same lap as Limitless on the first stop, and he just realized how big the undercut is, as Evo actually now had to pass K-block, coming towards Spoon. He's using a lot of curves to get it done, and it seems to be a straightforward move. nicely lined up from Evo there, but they both ran completely off the track, really misjudging that corner. Managing to get back on it though for the exit, and Brošek now has to get pocket past his teammates. K-Block obviously quite new to the league, doesn't he's let him through, he's playing the good teammate role there.
Didn't do the same for Evo, did he? He was like, no, you can go round the outside of me and use all my curves. So K-Block doing the teammate game there, which is not bad at all. That's just how racing works, isn't it, really?
It is.
So Martin's in the pits,
Martin's in the pit, of course.
It's going to be very intriguing to see where he comes out. I think he's going to come out at the end of this train, and I'm loving this fascinating battle of strategies right now. We've got 4 drivers in the top 4, obviously, because that would make the top 4. I'm not sure where I was going with that. But we've got 2 drivers that have got 2 lap older tyres. Then we've got one driver of Limitless who has 1 lap older tyres. Then we have the man with the freshest tyres, Tyrrell Martin, who's going to be at the back of this train by quite a margin. And, well, I mean, game on.
Yeah.
Game on.
As Limitless once again has been held up a little bit on the exit of the SS, this time by K-Block. But yeah, doesn't seem to put up too much of a fight with Limitless either, to be honest. I think K-Block just realizing that he's on a different strategy. These guys don't really want to hold himself or them up. So that's, you know, you don't want the establishment to be moaning at him after the race for unnecessarily blocking, you know. As actually the top two are getting quite close, I guess.
Brošek
to keep an eye on Martin when he comes up to K-Block, but
could see
yeah, Brošek's really catching him.
Could see a change of positions actually between Brošek and Evo. Brošek runs very wide.
Word.
To be fair, he's not going to lose any time because he's able to then take a very early apex. So Brošek could still follow Evo here and line up a move. He's used all of his curves, so I think he's going to try and potentially, if he's going to go for it, into the chicane. But I think Evo had quite a bit of curves as well to defend. So I think Evo will be okay into the chicane, and Brošek has no curves to his use for the start of this, well, for the end of this straight. Sorry, so I think Evo might be okay because it's not the longest of straights, is it, Fisi? It's not exactly. They don't come under pressure unless you have maybe half a bar of curves and then use some of your curves when it gets recharged, going down towards turn 1.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's quite interesting with the strategy with curves as well, because yeah, you just need to kind of decide on which part of the track you want to attack. We saw obviously Evo pass K-Block down towards Spoon the other lap using all of his curves, and it's obviously that then puts him under pressure for the rest of the lap, but sometimes you can make it work. And yeah, Brošek not able to get close at the moment. Both of them looked quite high though through the S's. As where is Limitless? He's
2 now.
Quite far behind
still.
still.
Martin is closing in very much on Limitless. Oh, Limitless is in the gravel. Limitless has made a huge mistake into Degner 2, and Martin might well use he has used his curves up the inside. Martin up into P3. Limitless, a huge mistake, and also missing his braking point, which could have easily ended in contact. And Limitless, once again, Degner 2 catching him out. That corner does not love him in the slightest. And now Martin has clear air to set after 2 guys in front of him who have 2 lap older tyres, and that should be a piece of cake. And I was just thinking, before Limitless made that mistake, I find it fascinating that Martin has become this easily, like, sort of championship winning person out of absolutely nowhere. I mean, considering looking back at previous seasons and looking back at seasons on F1 2013, Martin, although had some pace, was nowhere near the front. Like, he was a mid sort of field runner, wasn't he, Fisi?
He was for the most part, yeah. Like,
or maybe
in season 8.
Field runner. I mean, he was probably 4th, 5th, something like that.
The thing is, in season 8, when he obviously did only like half the races that season, he had 1 podium. He was on 2nd place in actually around here at Japan, which is interesting. But yeah, he only had like 5th, 6th, 8th in the other races there. Had a couple of disqualifications for some reason. So historically it's been quite inconsistent, really. Sometimes really on the pace, but more often than not, really. A bit further down the field and maybe not even finishing the races. But this season it's really stepped up. Just found some kind of focus and skill out of nowhere.
Worth pointing out, Fisi, that Martin's already used all of his curves on this lap. And that's going to put him under pressure from Limitless, who is definitely staying with Martin despite having that 1 lap older tyres. And we could easily see these 4 just completely and utterly close up and have an absolute ding-dong battle, because it will just be a massive DRS train. It will pretty much negate, apart from obviously 1st place, it will negate the DRS advantage and the slipstream effect, really. And then it's all down to obviously having those fresher tyres and things like that. Obviously, Martin is still looking good at the moment, and Limitless is going to use all of his KERS, which I think is going to give him quite a bit of a speed advantage over Martin, who had no KERS usage. And is Limitless going to try a move after 130 into the chicane? I don't think he's going to be close enough, so I think he's going to still have to follow. But I think Limitless knows that he has to get through and needs to hit these apexes nicely through this last chicane. And he does, but Martin, just with that extra traction, is able to pull away. I don't think Limitless is going to be able to do anything about him.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of what you want. I wonder if Limitless... what he's thinking right now, because obviously he really wants to get back past Martin. That's what he needs for the championship. Whatever position he finishes in, he needs to be ahead of Martin. That's the first first point for him, and obviously... But if these guys start battling and hold each other up, then will they catch the top two? That's the question, isn't it?
I think they will. I think 2-lap difference in tyres is huge. That's probably about 6/10 a lap or something, just kind of off the top of my head. But you can see that
Martin flying through.
Martin's closing in very much on these two. And I think for Limitless, his only saving grace is the fact that Martin has 2 cars to pass. And oh god, they're getting very close, into the hairpin. Does Broshek, and Evo losing the back end, and that's going to give Broshek an opportunity for what is actually the lead at the moment. It may well not be the lead by the come the end of the race, but these two really do not want to be battling, and I'm sure Broshek, who is a champion of this league, should be thinking to himself, well, you know, this is not exactly ideal to be battling, but maybe he just thinks that he is so much faster than Evo that he wants to get past, and he's getting a little bit frustrated. But either way, these two, who, you know, they are on pretty much the disadvantaged strategy. They need to work together to use the slipstream to their advantage and not battle and go side by side and run each other off the track. But that's just experience talking.
Yeah, but it's hard when you're in this situation as well to not battle, because you wanna go side by side, you wanna make passes, you wanna have fun in the race, and sometimes that's an easier task than actually just thinking about the bigger picture. As Broshek is now having DRS, but yeah, didn't get the exit that he needed out of the chicane to get close enough, and. I'm going the wrong way on the cameras. Martin is still closing in, not quite in the DRS range yet, but I think he will be by the end of this lap. And it's quite interesting, really, that Broshek suddenly seems faster than Evo, because like in the early part of the race, he was the man who was dropping off the top 3 train. But now he's just really found his rhythm again and kind of hassling Evo a little bit. But Evo's defending well, he's picking his lines nicely and hanging on out there. But as you say, it'll be very interesting now that Martin and Limitless will be joining. First of all, just Martin, no, Limitless actually dropping off a
Broshek's
little
locked
bit.
up. That's given Martin an opportunity to the hairpin. This is going to be crucial if Martin wins this race. If he can dispatch of Broshek and get into second. However, Broshek using a lot of his KERS to try and defend. They're going to be side by side now, coming through this right-hand kick and now into Spoon. Can Martin hang it in on the inside? I think he will be able to with that extra grip as well. Broshek has to give the position up, and Martin up into P2. And that is, Martin getting very out of shape on the exit of Spoon curve there, almost ditching it in the gravel. But right now, Martin, well, I think there's only one, unless there's any incidents, there's only one result for Martin, and that is P1.
Yeah, and I think Limitless sitting behind this and must be feeling very frustrated with that, seeing Martin get through once again. We obviously remember Korea last time out, when after the incident they had at Broshek pits, actually. Yeah, we remember Korea, where Martin and Limitless both ended up a bit down the field after the incident, but Martin just was a little bit more efficient in getting through and making passes compared to Limitless, and that's what gave him the gap he needed at the end of the race to win it, even though Limitless was actually closing in a bit towards the end of that race. But now Martin is in a similar position. He's got Evo just ahead of him. If he can pass Evo really quickly here, he has a huge upper hand on Limitless into the final part of this race.
Evo getting very out of shape, although Evo is bringing himself back into play here because he was on the the strategy with Broshek. Broshek's diving into the pits. He's going to be in the lead at the start of this stint, and Evo really, if he can keep it on the track and ahead of Martin, and then dive into the pits now, he could still have a chance at winning this race. I know Martin. Oh gosh, Martin getting very close, hitting the rear end of Evo actually there. And that's giving Martin an advantage. He's not going to take it, I don't think, unless Spectator Kev is completely and utterly unreliable, which it may well be because Martin is still hanging it round the outside. But Evo is defending hard. Limitless probably hoping that these two collide into each other. And into Spoon we go. Evo still in first place at the moment, and he will dive into the pits, I am most certain, at the end of this lap. But Martin now is going to be potentially moving to the
Evo
side.
must have had more curves.
Yeah, no, Evo was still using his curves. Martin now, they will have the inside line potentially into the 130R.
Oh my
It's going
God.
to be side by side, and Evo and Martin are going to go side by side and not collide just yet. We're going to be side by side into the chicane as well. Martin, with that extra grip, hangs it around the outside, but that's not going to mean too much for Evo. He's going to dive into the pits now, unless Martin comes into the pits as well. We have a battle on our hands now, as all three of them come into the pits, and Martin sacrifices his extra fresh lap of tyres because he wants track position.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the right strategy by Martin there. He has seen on 2 pit stops already this race that the undercut is absolutely massive. And as he's actually been jumped, Martin's been jumped by Evo.
By Limitless. No, Limitless. He's been jumped by Limitless. Oh, no, he hasn't.
Has he?
Sorry, no.
No,
How has he been jumped? Oh, sorry. I'm being completely confused. I'm so sorry. I was looking at Broshek and I lost every sort of bit of information. Right, so Broshek has taken the lead of this race. And we have seen before that Broshek has been able to almost take advantage of a huge undercut. He's got about 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds potentially on Evo. That will obviously start to come down as the laps unfold. Orbit Pride has retired from the race. Martin in 3rd place. So Orbit Pride is retired from the race, not Orbit Pride. Evo, yeah, so he's retaken that position and brought. Oh gosh, Martin, Degner 2. Where did that come from? I mean, there's only one Degner on this lap for Martin. But either way, Evo, he's on the same strategy as Martin. Game on.
Yep, all of these 3 are on the same strategy. It's only Broshek out in front, who is on 1 lap more worn tires. And yeah, this is really going to be an interesting battle. I kind of hope that Limitless is able to close the gap a little bit as well, just so we get an almighty 4-way scrap here towards the end of the race. That would be amazing to see. But I think still Martin potentially, I mean, you kind of think that he has the upper hand. But then again, Evo and Broshek have both been looking very strong at times in this race. Evo's been defending hard, even though he did get passed by Martin just before they pitted. Then we took it in the pit lane. A little bit of luck, but that's what you gotta have sometimes. Oh my word, as Martin clatters the ball out there at the chicane. It does definitely get him any time. I think he actually slowed him down a bit.
I think he's a little bit. I think he's a little bit. His feathers have a little bit been ruffled by the fact that Evo's got back past him. I think. Obviously, if he come out in P2, he's closed his DRS for absolutely no reason, and opened it again, then closed it. Brilliant. Either way, into turn 1 we go. So Martin probably doesn't feel as confident now because Evo's going to be fast at the start of this stint, being on the wheel, and the wheel obviously going off towards the end of the stint. So right now, I don't know who's going to win because Limitless is still close enough to be able to pounce, although he's not within DRS range, I don't think. So he's going to have to rely on Evo and Martin having a little bit of a ding-dong battle and potentially bringing Limitless into play. But right now, I cannot call this, Fisi.
No, I'm just scrolling down to the rest of the field at the moment. We got K-Block running in P5 still. I wonder if he's got a pit stop yet to do there. Had Sierra Unleashed there in 5th. We had in 6th, sorry. And then we had, was that Last F1 running in 7th? And Jason currently last on the track. Means that Haryanto was running in 8th. But back to the front, Broshek looking good. But, obviously has the tire disadvantage, so he's going to have to be really good at defending in this last part of the race if he's going to keep the lead. I think he's going to be getting so much pressure once these guys catch him.
Oh, most definitely.
And speaking of pressure, Martin getting pretty close to Evo, coming towards chicane. Not really close enough to have a go, but maybe on the straight, as I don't think Evo will have a DRS on Broshek just yet. So Martin could have a chance there down the main straight.
I think he might have DRS. Yeah, he does.
He does actually.
Well, I think Broshek had a poor last sector there, and that has enabled Evo to get into that slipstream and DRS train, which is exactly what Evo needed. Because now he can obviously close in on Broshek, make the move. He's going to have to be quite clever when he makes his move on Broshek, because he'll want to obviously do it into turn 1, so that he'll have that advantage of his fresher tyres than Broshek, and Broshek will hold up Martin and Limitless. So then that'll give Evo the potential to actually pull away out of DRS by the time that Martin gets through. So right now it's going to be very interesting to see if Evo can choose his moment wisely.
And Limitless is
falling back.
Not seemingly able to hold on here at the moment. He's lacking a little bit of pace compared to the top 3. I mean, you can still see him there in the background. It's not actually that big of a gap, but just compared to the other gaps that's going on in the top 3, it is actually quite big. As Martin got very close to Evo there, into the hairpin. But it's not really, it's very obviously hairpin. You can remember Kobayashi making tons of overtakes there. Was he back in 2012 or 11?
Was, yeah.
But it's a very, or 10 even, but it's a very, obviously a very difficult corner to overtake, because the straight before it is actually pretty close. You're kind of depending on the car ahead to mess up the second Zegna if you want to have a move there. Spoon, also pretty difficult. We saw a move there earlier, but that was only, that was Evo making a move on a slow car. Speaking of a slower car, Brošek a lot slower than Evo down the straight there through 130R.
Oh my god.
And Brošek this time
Bollards.
clattering the bollards there. Bollard time. As Evo might have a chance. Brošek got a decent exit, but Evo will have the DRS
This is his
advantage, and you can
chance.
see how fast he's closing. Brošek's going to defend, but Evo's got this easily ahead with the whole car before the turn 1 even approached them. And Brošek now, Evo, not the best exit though, has to take slightly defensive line into the first part of the S's. Brošek getting very close behind, slight touch on the tires. But Evo is back in the lead of the race with Martin right behind the two of them.
This is his moment. This is the one I spoke about. Evo has to push now and pull away. He needs to make sure Brošek doesn't have a move back at him, which is what Brošek will have to do. He has to dive somewhere and get back ahead of Evo, which right now he's close enough to be able to pull off a move. And Evo really has not had the first sector that I said he needed to have if he wanted to pull away, because he was very scrappy going through turn 1, and then getting caught on the curb and running off onto the grass. Limitless is absolutely nowhere at the moment, really can't stay with these three, but obviously with these three having DRS on each other and slipstream, it is very hard to close in on a group of cars, especially around here. So right into Spoon Curve we go. Can Evo nail these corners? Brošek running very wide indeed and actually can't be able to stop the car, and that's going to enable Martin to be right behind the Mercedes driver, and this is where Martin has to get through if he's going to have any chance of winning this race, and he does, straight past Brošek, who really shouldn't be struggling at this point in stage in the stint, and I think that's going to enable Limitless to eventually catch up to him towards the end of the race and potentially salvage a podium from a very disappointing race for Limitless, who really needed to beat Martin. He has to beat Martin in this race, and he's not. But Martin right now getting very out of shape out of the last corner. That's going to enable Brošek to potentially come back at him. Is Brošek going to use all of his curves to try and get back at him? No, he's not. He's not even going to bother.
Use any.
Very, very strange decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. Brošek is maybe feeling that he doesn't have too much of a chance at the moment, just feeling that the two ahead of him just are faster. Maybe he just wants to try and save a bit of time to Limitless behind, but as I say, I think Limitless will be very close and have a chance at Brošek by the end of this race. Martin pulling away slightly through the S's as well. Evo and Martin looking like the two that will battle it out for the win at the moment, as we got just 3.5 laps to go in the race now. He's really flown by this one. A lot of close racing, especially in the top 4 of the field. And,
Martin's locked up. He's made a huge
Oh,
error
God.
into the hairpin. That's going to enable Brošek to come back at him. Although Martin still is going to be able to salvage second, I think, just about. An enormous mistake from the championship leader. He's got onto those dirty marbles and he has gone straight on at the hairpin, which I know is very easy to do. I think I did it it's pretty much, this is so weird. This is like kind of almost like a scenario exactly that I had when. But either way, Martin locking up on those, which I said is very easy to do. And this is Evo's chance. Can he take another victory in this league?
Yeah, Evo has the gap now. Actually, he just needs to be if he can find the consistency he's shown. I think it was the second stint in the race where he was looking very, very strong. If he finds that consistency again, manage to hit all the apexes and maintain the gap. Although Martin got a fantastic exit out of the final corner. I don't think he did get the DRS, but he certainly got a lot closer to Evo.
You weren't there, Crofty. That is definitely about 1.8 seconds. Come on.
Well, yeah. As you just caught me off guard with that comment. But let's see. Let's look back and see. Limitless, no, not really getting too much closer. He's kind of been on that gap, just pretty much a second. Pretty much just exactly a second. That's where he's been sitting now and just watching these guys battle it out. For pretty much this entire stint. The Limitless, man, you just need to find a few more tenths in the lap and close the gap.
I think he will catch
at the
Brošek
moment.
towards the end of the race, because Brošek now will be feeling his tyres quite a lot. And yeah, I think Limitless should be able to get P3 if he can actually, just keep it on the track and keep it consistent and not make a mistake at Degner. And then...
Close up a bit
yeah, he's
there.
definitely closing up. Brošek falling away, despite being very close to Martin through Sector 1, I noticed. But he's fallen away in that middle sector. And can Martin do anything as he runs wide about LLR Evo, who just decides to just show up whenever he wants, doesn't he? I mean, he just shows up at Monaco, shows up here, and then is just nowhere everywhere else. So I think he really does need to do more practice for the other races, and he could easily be a championship contender. But right now,
Here comes Limitless on Brošek. Brošek defends into the chicane. Oh, he breaks a lot later actually, Brošek. Nice. Very good defensive move.
No,
but
that's surely
Limitless
will
get
to get DRS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go on, Karen Fisi.
He will get a lot better exit, and he didn't have any more curves to start the straight, but he has DRS now, of course, and used some of his curves as well to get an easy move then on Brošek in the end. So Limitless up to the podium position. Brošek falling flat on his slightly more worn tires, and now there you can see there's a gap between Limitless and Martin. He has 2 laps to try and do something about this Limitless. And likewise Martin with Evo ahead. So, well, what do you think will happen, Matt?
I think the positions they're in right now is where they're going to finish, to be honest. I think Evo's definitely got this one in the bag. Martin is, yeah. Oh, Limitless has made a mistake, I think, out of Degner 3. Degner 3, that doesn't exist. Degner 2, although it didn't lose too much to Brošek, and misses the apex quite heavily, does Limitless. But I think this is definitely the way that these guys are going to finish. Evo, fantastic drive from him. He managed to push that stint. That was what was the most crucial thing for him, was not diving into the pits when Brošek did, but just getting that 1 lap extra and then kind of forcing himself onto the same strategy. And then obviously when he jumped Martin as well, I mean, I'm sure Martin will see that as the moment that was almost his chance of victory over. Although it wasn't the chance of victory over then, it was his lock up at the hairpin which stopped him from potentially winning this race. And well, one mistake, and that's all that really happens in AOR. One mistake, and that can throw your chances of winning.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think Evo just played the strategy perfect in this race as well. On the first, obviously, Brošek was the first of everyone to pit. The first stop that Evo has managed to get the undercut on both Limitless and Martin, both on the first and second stop. And ultimately, that is what has put him in this position, as they all pitted together, obviously, before the final stop. And now in the final stint, he's just shown incredible consistency and not losing his cool whatsoever, despite Martin being very close behind, even though he's actually dropping back. So I have to say, Evo's just looking very comfortable right now. So I think actually what we might need to look out for
Limitless and Martin
is whether Limitless can catch him on this final half a lap of the
Martin
race.
looking very nervous actually on this lap, just not particularly fast. And it's kind of putting himself a little bit under pressure from Limitless. I don't think he's close enough, though, as Limitless to get the slipstream effect or the DRS. But obviously DRS being on the straights, there's not really much point of that. But he would have to be in the slipstream effect as we come out of Spoon Curve. And I don't think he's going to get there. So I think my prediction will pan out. And, well, with only 1 sector to go, or sorry, almost 1 and a bit sectors to go, I think that this is going to be the end result for the Japanese Grand Prix. I think we should ride on board with NLR Evo. Is going to take his 2nd win of the season and his 2nd win in AOR as well, as he comes through 130R. Stay off that auto spin curve. I wouldn't have gone anywhere near that if I was in. But here we go. Through the last chicane, NLR Evo comes, and he is going to take a fantastic victory. And I mean, fair play to him. He has really done well. A great win for NLR Evo, who comes over the line to take P1. Martin is going to come home in 2nd, extends his championship lead over TRO Limitless to 35 points now with 4 races to go. Brošek comes home in a solid 4th place. He probably thinks what maybe could have been, but I think his strategy was just a little bit too extreme at the end of the day. TSR Unleashed with an extremely boring, just nothing going on race, I don't think, for him. Well, I don't think we've seen anything with him.
Seems pretty lonely right now. Anyway.
Yeah, P5 for Unleashed, I think that is. And then we've got K-Block, who's going to come home in 6th place, although has a 10-second penalty, so that is unfortunate for him. Maybe he'll be able to get it removed, who knows. But K-Block is going to fall down after starting last place. It would have been a good 6th place for him, but unfortunately he's been relegated to 7th, and I don't think he's actually going to lose any more than just the 1 position. So
Haryanto is way back.
So is Jason. So then we've also got Orbit Pride and Foxside, who did not finish. So good race though.
2 Sauber drivers, not good for them.
I enjoyed that race. I think it was a pretty good race in terms of like the strategy and the fact that so many people were on different strategies, and you kind of knew that they were all going to bunch up at some point. And well, Martin making that 1 mistake proved crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. It was quite a bit of battling, quite a bit of strategy, as you said, and ultimately Evo was just coming out of nowhere. I was kind of looking at Boschek to be the dark horse in this race, but in the end, it was NLR Evo. Really unexpected, I have to say, considering he's not had a better result than 6th since the Monaco Grand Prix. You can see here, he won the race by 2.6 seconds over Tyrrell Martin in the end. Crucial for the championship, of course, that Martin beats Limitless once again, I think. Limitless will be frustrated once again. Can't really blame anything on this occasion, though. I think he'll just have to accept that Martin was the better man on the day. Of course, impressive drives by both of them, but Martin got the upper hand. Boschek 4th, Unleashed, as I said, lonely there in 5th place. K-Block dropped down to 7th after crossing line in 6th. Last F1 moves up. Haryanto got 8th in the end. Jason in 9th, Obit Pride, and Foxside DNF.
Thank you very much for that, Fisi. Okay, so NLR Evo getting out of his Williams car. He has taken a fantastic victory.
Williams.
Williams. Yeah, there you go. I love that pun. Nice one, like that. Enjoyed that a lot, Fisi. Anyway, so I think Martin will be very happy, actually, despite finishing 2nd, despite potentially throwing that race away with that mistake. He extended his championship lead. He only wants the championship, let's be real. I mean, of course we want victories, but at the end of the day, the championship is where it's at, and he still extended his lead. And the fact is, he put on his Twitter that he wasn't feeling very well as well. So I think Martin, he said his championship advantage was going to plummet and like a building falling down, I think I saw. But it's actually improved. He's actually added a few bricks to his advantage. So Martin will be very happy with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this AOR F1 2013 live stream. And make sure you follow FisiFan on YouTube and Twitch and everything else, because he will be uploading the highlights. I will hopefully be doing that too, if Fisi remembers to send me the link and the profile thing. We haven't done for a while. But either way, we would...
It's your mind, mate.
Well, I forget, to be fair. But, guys, follow me on Twitter as well. I've almost hit 6k followers, which would be nice to do at the end of tonight. And apart from that, guys, and also follow the Twitch stream, because obviously it will notify you when we do our next one, which is not next week, it's the week after, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a break week for next time.
Where are we going? India?
So 2 weeks we're going to India for some reason.
India, fantastic. So guys, make sure you come and tune in 2 weeks' time for the Indian Grand Prix, and we'll see you very soon. Fisi, any last words?
No.
Okay.
So, good race.
See you later, guys.
See you guys, goodbye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye, 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 bye.